So today I am doing the college books book tag. This is an original tag that I came up with, and I've got 10 questions that are related to college books. At the beginning they're pretty general, and then toward the bottom I kind of get more specific to English, which is my major, so make that work for whatever you ended up going for. The first question is, which book was the heaviest / lightest? The heaviest book I ever had was a ecology book. It was one of those survey courses where it tries to give you the whole history in one semester, and that book was ridiculous. I mean, it was like this thick and it was hardback. I hated that book. I had to carry it. It was just ridiculous. And then the lightest book that I ever had, I have right here, and it is Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, and it's a little bit play that I'm reading this semester, and I like this a lot better. It's really tiny. Question number 2, was there a book you used so little you could have gotten away without buying it? Now, I was just convinced that I could think of something for this question. I just know there has to have been a book I didn't really need to use, but I couldn't think of anything. So, anyways, question 3, which book was the most expensive / cheapest? The most expensive book that I ever had to get was my French book. It came with a code for the French lab for online, and it was like $200, I think, and I'm pretty sure that's the most expensive book on its own that I've ever had to buy. And then the cheapest, I have this play right here. It's Look Back in Anger by John Osborne, and it was like $2 down at the used bookstore, so that's probably, I can't think of anything that was cheaper than that. Question 4, was there a book that you were meant to finish but didn't, either because you didn't read it all or your professor ran out of time? So whenever I was in art history, I had to take one art class. I did art history. We got about halfway through, and then the professor got off on a rail about sculptures because that was passion. And we ended up being 2 chapters behind by the time we got to the end of the semester, and so he had to adjust the test and everything, and we didn't finish that book. So question 5, was there a book you expected to hate but you ended up liking? For this one I have She. This is a novel by H. Rider Haggard, and it starts out really weird where there's all this mystery around this suitcase, and the protagonist can't open it until he's 25, and I was like, I don't understand why this doesn't sound very good. It had all these weird translations and extra things in there, and I was like, I don't need this information. But then as it got into the action, I ended up absolutely loving it, and I think maybe possibly that J.K. Rowling must have read this, because the big bad woman in this book is called She Who Must Be Obeyed, and it made me think of He Who Must Not Be Named. And I was like, yes, this is so cool, and so I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought. Question 6, was there a book that you enjoyed so much that it earned a place among your favorites? And for this one, I went with The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft. I hadn't read a whole lot of Lovecraft, and then a semester or 2 ago, we did a weird fantasy fiction class, and we started out with H.P. Lovecraft and went all the way through weird, all the way into Gaiman. And I love Call of Cthulhu. It's it's one of those ones where it's it could be real, but you're not really sure, and I just love that so much. So, question 7, did you keep any of your college books? Yes, obviously I have some. I don't keep the novels that I don't like. I only keep the ones I like, and obviously all those big anthologies, I just sell those back because I don't need to keep those around. Question 8, was there a genre you hadn't tried before that became a new favorite? For this, I have weird / gothic. Whenever I read the weird fantasy class, a lot of stuff that was out of my realm that I didn't really read very much, like Neil Gaiman, and ended up really liking those. And then last semester I did the English 1700 to 1900, and so in that we did the Gothic and read Frankenstein and Jekyll and Hyde and things like that, and I absolutely love that stuff. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we read now that's really popular that has elements of the Gothic in it, and I just was totally surprised that I love the Gothic, so I've been reading a lot of that lately. Question 9, which classic did you hate / love? So we read Candide by Voltaire a while ago, and I didn't like Candide. If you liked Candide, awesome. I hated it. I barely got through that thing. It was not fun. But I did love Frankenstein. That was one of the ones I read for the Gothic, and I knew the story, so I was like, there's not going to be that much, that I don't really know. Obviously not, as I should know. The book and, the adaptions that they make are not always the same, and so I ended up really loving Frankenstein. So question 10 is, was there a book you could have gone your whole life without reading? I love this question. My answer is Saved by Edward Bond. And if you can't tell by this red scratch all over this prim, this baby gets stoned to death in this play. And I know that it's got meaning and, you know, the playwright is trying to say something. Great. I don't want to read that. I would much rather have not read this ever, because it was sad. I was like, what are they doing? And even before that, like, the baby's in the room and they're just like sitting there and it's crying, and I'm like, what are you doing? So I could pass. Totally no need to read that. So that is the College Books book tag. I hope you liked it. If you did, please click the like button below or leave a comment. I'm going to tag Sarah and Simone. I'll leave their links below. So anybody else who wants to do this, please feel free, and I'll see y'all later.